Hey guys. How's your morning? Bad? Well, sucks to be you. I'm gonna make it worse. Say, anime has gotten really big within the past few years, don't you think? Largely in part due to the pandemic. The anime fandom is growing more rapidly than it did during the 2000s anime boom. Gone are the days where you'll get shoved in a locker because you were doing fucking jutsus during gym class. Everybody's watching Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, One Piece, except for me. I don't watch much shonen anymore. I'm sorry, I'm busy watching Precure. And Smiling Friends. That's not an anime, but I'm busy watching that too. Sometimes I miss how niche anime was, but honestly, I much prefer how it is now. Sure, we have TikToks that will shame you for watching Seven Deadly Sins, but at least we don't see normalized CP when we enter anime spaces online.
Ugh. Brother, ugh.
And I think that's pretty great. At least anime fans now are willing to admit that, like, yes, anime is a cartoon. And they're not gonna say that they're not gonna say as much stupid shit. Honestly. To those of you who don't know what I'm referring to, consider yourself lucky to have not been a part of that fucking brain rot. The anime community gained a really, really big victim mentality. Animation for about 50-60 years in the West has been considered only for children. Mainly because of Hanna-Barbera. It was mainly Hanna-Barbera's fault. So, one of the big things people were bullied about in the anime community was, oh, you're watching a baby show. That's for babies. You're a little baby. And so this new sentiment came out in the anime fandom trying to say, hey, this is actually for adults, and I'm not a little piss baby. You're a piss baby. It was basically to say, anime is not a cartoon. Which is dumb. Anime fans kind of gained this sort of disdain for Western animation because someone in middle school said that Naruto was for babies. They internalized that stupid rhetoric that animation is for kids without even realizing it because they just took it out on Western animation rather than fucking anime. Actually, only the West makes stupid dumb baby shows like Phineas and Ferb and Adventure Time and Bubble Guppies. We have big boy shows like Naruto and Dragon Ball Z. Don't mention how anime fans watch those as kids. Don't mention how children actually watch those shows in Japan. We don't talk about that. Children actually don't exist in Japan. There's no such thing as baby shows in Japan. Only big, strong adult shows for big, strong men like me. They would legitimately try to argue that anime is a different art form entirely. An art form higher than normal animation. Even though a lot of 2000s anime that weren't mainstream kind of looked like fucking dog shit. But there was one show the anime community was allowed to forgive. One Western show that wasn't a fucking baby show for little babies. It aired on Nickelodeon. Yeah, it was for kids, dude. The gateway drug that is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, I probably shouldn't have to explain this show to you. You probably already watched it at some point. That's probably why you clicked on the video. Or you've probably watched, like, The Legend of Korra or something. And to put it lightly, this show is a masterpiece. The art direction, the character writing, the story direction. And while Korra got mixed reception, I think it's still phenomenal. It just had the deterrent of following up a nearly perfect show, which is an extremely hard feat to pull off properly. But this, in the anime community's eyes, is the only Western show not to be a cartoon. Nay, this is an anime. Which is fucking dumb. They were basically like, this show is too good to be American. Because all American shows are shit. And while this sentiment that American animation is all terrible has died out a bit. This notion that ATLA is an anime hasn't died, which I don't know why, considering how it's a fucking insult to ATLA. The creators themselves came out and said that it isn't an anime, and people still cling to that statement. So, I'm gonna explain to you in depth, not death, why you're fucking wrong. Okay, maybe I can change your mind or reaffirm a belief you've already had this entire time. Whichever works, really. Just don't be a dick in my comments, okay? Please. I don't want to filter my comments. Just keep an open mind when listening, because I swear to God, if you come into my comments with the same damn arguments I just disproved, I will demolish you. Do you understand? I will demolish you. And by that I mean I will delete your comment. First off, let's talk about the term itself. Anime. According to our good friend Wikipedia, anime is hand-drawn and computer-generated animation originating from Japan. Outside Japan and in English, anime refers specifically to animation produced in Japan. Pretty simple, right? Anime is animation that is produced in Japan. But Cole, anime in Japan means Shut your little mouth. Shut your mouth. Anime in Japan refers to any and all animation. It is a shortened slang version of the loan word animation in Japan. So that means anything can be an anime, right? In short, no. Anime is a loan word, which is kind of funny because in Japan, anime is a shortened version of an English loan word. It's kind of funny how that works. But even the use of anime, our use of anime is a loan word. But words aren't even pronounced the same. In Japan, it's pronounced anime. It has a completely different definition than what it has in the West. Let's use chai, for example. Chai just means tea in Hindi. But in English, it's used to refer to a specific type of South Asian tea. As a native English speaker, you wouldn't call every single tea chai because you don't speak Hindi. If you do speak the language, yeah, you would use chai in that way. But you can't. Thus, you don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody who speaks Hindi in the audience, okay? I don't speak Hindi, okay? Let's get that clear. Alright. It's the exact same thing with anime. You're not speaking Japanese. You wouldn't use the term anime to refer to all animation because that's not what it means in English. You would use anime, which is a different fucking word. Also, I pronounced that wrong, I think. If you tell an anime fan that your favorite anime is Shrek, you're gonna get an eye roll and they're gonna tell you that's a dead meme and to shut up. But Cole, what about Chinese and Korean animation that get dubbed as anime? Are those not anime then? Yeah, they're not anime. Chinese animation is referred to as donghua, and Korean animation is frequently called hanguk ani, or just ani. Though this term hasn't really caught on much. And I don't even know if I pronounced it right, honestly. But Korean comics, manhwa, are gaining extreme popularity, like Solo Leveling and God of High School, which both were picked up by Japanese studios and made into anime. The general rule of thumb is the show has to be made by and for Japanese audiences. While I don't really like the 2000s and 2010s gatekeeping and their fetishization of Japanese culture, I don't really think having anime as its own term to be a bad thing. We have other terms like K-pop and J-pop that are used to specifically denote where certain music is from. As long as we don't fetishize it, I think it's alright. Besides, I don't really think the cartoon community in America really wants to be merged with the anime community, even though they do both frequently overlap. We suck, guys. We really do. People hate avid anime fans. For a good reason. I see you over there with your fucking Kana body pillow. Burn that shit immediately and go to jail. Now. Second point of tension, a lot of people believe that anime is an art style and not a denotation of where the animation is from. This is stupid for a lot of reasons. People that believe this, look me in the eye and tell me that JoJo's and One Piece have the same art style. Tell me right now. Do it. I dare you. I have both fandoms right behind me. They will eat your still living body alive if you say yes. This point, I think, is really insulting to these shows. Avatar is an anime because of its art style. Yes, a lot of anime have similar art styles. The big eyes, the way the mouth moves, the way movement, all of that. And yes, a lot of anime have similar art styles. This is true. But some of the biggest anime ever have unique art styles. One Piece, Dragon Ball, JoJo's, Demon Slayer, Sailor Moon, Naruto, Bleach, any Miyazaki film. All of these art styles are different in their own way. And as previously stated, anime means Japanese animation. Are you telling me that every single piece of animated media that's produced in Japan has the exact same art style? Do you see every single anime as looking like Clannad or generic Isekai number 38? Newsflash, buddy. Here's a bunch of anime that don't have a classic anime art style, or they have a unique art style in general. Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, Poppy the Performer, Crayon Shin-chan, Baki, Beastars, any Junji Ito animation. Pick one. Mob Psycho 100, Dorohedoro, Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, Revolutionary Girl Utena, The Flowers of Evil, Agretzko, The Promised Neverland, Pulea Magi Madoka Magica, Osomatsu-san, Doraemon, anything done by Clamp, etc., etc., etc. Hell, Clamp has a different art style between every single anime and manga they've ever released. Every single anime doesn't look like fucking Sword Art Online. This gets really under my skin because they use it to say that Avatar is an anime when there's so much fucking American shows that emulate the classic anime look. The original Teen Titans, Kappa Mikey, Totally Spies, which is French-Canadian, but still, The Boondocks. The Boondocks is the one that gets me the most. If anime is an art style, why the fuck isn't The Boondocks considered a fucking anime? That show has the most similar art style I've ever seen to an anime. Is it because it doesn't emulate a typical shonen anime? Is there a racial aspect as to why it's not considered an anime? It wouldn't surprise me if there was, but I would be very disappointed in all of you. Some people have coined the term American anime to describe these shows. Shows like Castlevania, ATLA, and Ruby, which is an oxymoron because, as previously stated, anime is made in Japan. The Ruby creators themselves even stated that they were the first American anime. Which, by the way, by the anime community's own standards, that's not fucking true. That would be ATLA, which I don't even like that term, but people that use that term, the first one would be ATLA. I hate the creators of Ruby. They're very stuck up their own ass. No, you guys were not the first Americans to be inspired by anime. Why are you claiming that? I don't hate Ruby. No, I do hate Ruby. I do hate Ruby. I take it back. No, I do hate Ruby. The only series that I would loosely deem an American anime is Afro Samurai. Because Afro Samurai was a doujin that got picked up by an American studio rather than a Japanese studio. It got picked up by none other than Samuel Jackson, who's a huge anime fan. He's like the king of the anime fandom. Honest to God.
Does Samuel L. Jackson like anime?
Yes, I do. Hentai too.
Insane how no one fucking brings up this show in this argument, especially since it is actually a collaboration between a Japanese creator and an American studio. They only bring up shows that were inspired by anime. And again, is there a racial aspect to it? Because Afro Samurai is also heavily based in American black culture, even though it was created in Japan. Imagine I make a Bollywood movie. I make it as faithful to Indian filmmaking that I can. I reference a lot of Indian media to make it the perfect love letter to Indian culture. No matter how good this movie is, it is not a Bollywood movie because it's not made in India, nor is it made by someone who is Indian. Kung Fu Panda is beloved by Chinese audiences. That does not mean that Kung Fu Panda was made in China. But the people who made it but it was made by a lot of passionate people who respect and love Chinese culture. And possibly are Chinese. I didn't look up if there was a lot of Chinese people working on Kung Fu Panda. Sorry. Pop culture is still a facet of culture. There's cultural appreciation and there's cultural appropriation. And many of these shows are wonderful appreciation towards the thing they are influenced by. Like I said, ATLA is like a big one. They can't just have something inspired by anime. They have to be a part of it. They have to insert themselves into another country's media. Which is fucking weird. That's fucking weird, guys. Why are we doing that? That sounds like encroaching on colonizer behavior. Now, it's not my place to dictate what is and is not offensive for Japanese people. I'm white, a white American at that. So take what I say with a grain of salt, okay? I'm just expressing my personal opinion, and in my opinion, it sounds very similar to people who fetishize Japan. It reads weeaboo. Remember, guys? That's what we used to call Japan fetishizers. People say, oh, their culture is so much better than mine. I wish I could live in Japan. Oh, their culture's better than mine. I wish I could live in Japan. Our country sucks, and everything about our media sucks, and our food sucks, and our culture sucks. That's not appreciating culture. That's colonizer behavior. That's colonizer behavior. I want what they have because I like One Piece. I want what they have because I'm better than the culture I was raised under. You can always take inspiration from other pieces of media. If you want to make a comic in the style of manga, go for it. Nothing should stop you from doing so. But if you try to insert yourself into another person's culture, that's fucking weird. Girl, come here. By the way, she's been sitting on top of the cat tree this whole time because I'm using this stuff because I'm filming on top of the cat tree. And by that I mean my camera's on top of the cat tree. She's been sitting on top of it this whole time and you didn't even know. Alright, there you go, Tempe. Be proud of your culture. I know it's hard considering a lot of people only see the negatives of their upbringing, but think of it this way. Nearly every culture has their own style of movies and TV shows. They all have their own foods, customs, songs, slang, language, all of which is completely and utterly valuable. Sure, if you're an American like me, it gets a little harder to see through all the racism and LGBT phobia there is, because there's a lot of it. But remember, America is a melting pot of culture. It isn't just white people stanking up everything with our fucking tuna casserole. I can't eat tuna casserole, I'm allergic to fish. But I think that's... yeah. There are many facets of American culture. Mexican Americans, Black Americans, Asian Americans, Native American culture. There's no one American culture. Hell, each Native American tribe has their own unique culture. Even geographically, someone raised in the Appalachian Mountains is going to live a very different life as to someone who was raised in Chicago. I remember hearing people say that Dolly Parton was like the embodiment of American culture. And my first thought when I heard that was, who the fuck is Dolly Parton? And yeah, I know who she is now and why she's an important figure in America, but I grew up in Washington State. Dolly Parton is much more of a southern/eastern icon. And, well, I live in the west corner of the United States of America. Thousands and thousands of miles away. Can you blame me for not knowing that Dolly Parton has a theme park? America isn't just burger and guns. So why on earth would you shaft your own culture? Every single being on this planet has culture. That's what intrinsically makes us human. It's what makes us who we are as people. It's the people we grew up around. If you believe there's nothing salvageable about your country, take a truly good look inside yourself. Look at who you are, everything inside you, and what makes you, you. Because there is everything about that culture, that is you. That was a tad bit of a tangent. But I feel the weeaboos in the audience needed to hear that. It may just be some TV shows, and in reality, it's not that serious. But you could say that about literally anything. My thoughts, it's just my thoughts on the matter. I can't stop anyone from doing anything. I say this all the time. Do whatever you want. I can't stop you. But I can and will judge if I don't agree with you, because I'm entitled to my own opinion just as you are. Another point that I wanted to make relates to the whole tangent I just had. ATLA has more than one influence. ATLA is a beautiful amalgamation of so many different cultures. A huge inspiration for ATLA was 80s kung fu movies like Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee movies, many of which are Chinese. And one of the most prominent aspects of ATLA is the Water Nation is heavily inspired by the Inuit tribe of North America. The Earth Kingdom is heavily based on the Ming and Qing dynasties of China. There are multiple centuries of different cultures that they base themselves on. You can tell everything in ATLA is heavily researched so that they can portray the most accurate and respectful portrayals of these cultures. And this is why I think ATLA is so intrinsically American. Because it, too, is a melting pot. It pays respects to so many different cultures, all of which are important to building the story and world of ATLA. The storytelling itself and humor is American. To say that the only influence is Japan is doing it a disservice, considering how many cultures it pulls from to create its narrative. And in that way, I deeply respect the show. And I'm not even the biggest fan of ATLA. I'm sorry. I'm not even the biggest fan. Sorry to break it to you. I haven't rewatched it in a few years. I would have for this video. Unfortunately, I'm working 50 hours a week right now. And I'm still working on that fucking Oran High School Host Club video that was supposed to be out during fucking Pride Month. But I'm goddamn late. I still need to rewrite the script, or else it's gonna be 5 hours long. just rubs me the wrong way when it is so clearly American. The only reason people do say it's an anime is because it's a good show and its art style. And like I said, there are many Western shows that have an anime-like art style, but we don't call those anime. Why is ATLA the only outlier? Is it because it kind of looks like a shonen? I don't know. But I've been rambling too much about this subject at this point. I feel I've made my point. If I kept going, I would just be repeating myself for an hour, and that's not fun to watch. You know? So, I want to thank you for making it this far in the video. It means a lot to me. Hope I didn't sour your mood too much. Have a good day. Or at least try to.